The meteorite had crashed to Earth the night before, embedding itself in the rain-softened ground. Now it sat in a containment unit in a local laboratory. The brown, pitted rock was larger than 3 average watermelons put together, and one of the 2 scientists in charge of investigating it noted that its overall shape greatly resembled the skull of an animal, such as a wolf or goat. As the scientists made their observations, a brown gas suddenly began leaking from the rock. "Should we get the masks?" asked the younger scientist. "No, the container's absolutely leak-proof," replied the older. They watched as the mysterious gas continued to issue from the meteorite. Finally, it stopped flowing and formed a large plume. The plume held its shape for a second and then began to change. The scientists didn't think much of it at first, but then they realized that the plume was forming a solid shape. Before their horrified eyes, the gas formed itself into an alien creature. Its overall shape was like the stereotypical Western depiction of a genie, as its body tapered to a wisp of gas in place of legs. Its head was like a hyena's, with black tufts of hair on the crown and a long, human-like strand of hair at the back. Its arms ended in hands with curved claws serving as fingers. Its inhuman eyes were fluorescent yellow. At first, it looked at the scientists in confusion, but then its expression turned to anger. It roared at them, revealing a snout full of fangs. It formed one of its hands into a fist and began pounding on the container glass. "Don't worry," the older scientist reassured the younger. "It won't be able to break through the glass." However, the scientist underestimated the creature's strength. After a couple more blows, it punched through the glass and exited the chamber, causing the younger scientist to cry out in fright. Instead of attacking, the creature flew past the duo and exited the room, leaving a trail of gas behind it. Within seconds, it had left the building, its gaseous nature allowing it to slip through a closed door. The younger scientist didn't feel well. What had just occurred was shocking in itself, but when the creature left, he had inadvertently inhaled some of the gas that it consisted of. He felt woozy and rested his head in his hand. As seconds passed by, the strange feeling intensified. Suddenly, he began laughing hysterically. The older scientist realized that his associate had inhaled the gas and was now having an adverse reaction. "Wait here, and I'll get an oxygen tank," he instructed. Before he could move, however, the younger scientist grabbed him by the throat and squeezed tightly. He looked at the older scientist with an expression of sadistic glee, and to the older scientist's horror, his eyes had turned yellow and gleamed like the creature's. Sometime later, when he went to investigate the incident, Casey observed the older scientist. He was barely conscious as a result of the beating he had taken, the bruises on his face and neck evidence of that. Casey turned back to the younger scientist, still shaken from what had happened. "You were compelled to do this after inhaling the creature's gas?" "Yes," the stunned scientist replied softly. "It was like it somehow took over my mind. I lost control of my actions after inhaling it. The creature somehow willed me to attack him, and I had to obey." Casey grimly reflected on the situation. This creature could control your mind, slip through cracks, fly, compel others to do its bidding, and now it was on the loose. Casey pocketed her notepad and turned to exit the room. After only a few steps, the man began coughing intensely. She glanced back. Gas was escaping from his mouth, nose, ears, and eyes, and quickly began to envelop the room. But his bright yellow eyes remained clearly visible.